Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. and I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. And today's podcast video topic is going to be all about how to measure success as a small business owner. I also wanted to touch a little bit on kind of how to know how to get to that success, what you should do in order to reach success, what success even means, and kind of tie it all into me and my personal journey with my candle business. So basically what I want to talk about first is how does somebody know when they're successful? I feel like this is something that a lot of people have actually categorized me under this category. And every time somebody says something like, oh, I want to be super successful like you, or, one day I want to have a candle business just like you. And it's really sweet and I love it. But sometimes it makes me look back or look at myself and think like, am I successful? I don't even know how to measure that. I don't know, is it a dollar amount? Is it how much I've expanded? Is it how long I've been in business? Is it how many sales I get? There's so much that goes into it that really gets me thinking, what is success? So what I actually did was I decided to Google it. So what does it mean to be successful? And good old Wikipedia came up, of course. And I chose this because I actually really like this definition, whether or not you think that Wikipedia is reliable. I know there's always those back and forths on that. But with this definition, it says, success is the state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. It may be viewed as the opposite of failure. The criteria for success depend on context and may be relative to a particular observer or belief system. And I really like this definition for a couple reasons. First thing, they use the term expectation. And I think that this is something that actually is very apparent in the business space when you're starting a business, because whether or not we realize it, I think that all of us, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like for me personally, going into starting a business, my expectations were completely different than what it ended up being like. I went into starting a business and I was very, very excited. I had that rush of dopamine or endorphins or whatever it is when you're wanting to start something new. And I just felt like this push to get into it. And I wasn't really going into it thinking, I have to reach this many sales, or I need to gross this much, or I need to sell this many candles, or I need to be at this level at this certain time. I just wanted to get started, and I didn't know how many obstacles would be in the way, but that initial push to get started does really kind of help you to get into it. And I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I had this expectation that it wouldn't be as challenging as what it was. But what's really interesting, and I know I've talked about this before, is that challenging aspect is the reason why you can grow to then become successful. It's kind of this weird, revolving kind of thing, to where if you can get through the challenges and the obstacles, then you can really get to the point where you can become successful. And what I think of as successful, it's really just a matter of, in this definition, it says that it can be relative. So I've kind of thought to myself, what does it mean to be successful? And I guess it just means being able to sustain your business and have continuous sales and be able to then reinvest those profits back in, to where then you can, invest it into other avenues to be able to help grow your business even more, whether that's wholesale, doing more local markets, being able to expand and invest into upgrading your website, being able to invest into marketing. There's just a lot that goes into it. And again, I don't even know if I can have like a clear-cut definition because it is so relative to each individual person. And I know that for some people getting started with a business that are just wanting to make it a small side business that they can do maybe 1 or 2 local markets on the weekends, maybe a couple times a month, to be able to make some extra money, that would be a very successful business for that person. Whereas somebody else who's wanting to create a billion-dollar business, that would not be sufficient for them. So it's just very relative, and I think that that's why it's so important to be able to write down your goals and write down what you are wanting to make out of your business. So in the little candle workbook that I sell on my Etsy shop, I have a couple questions for the future business owner to really define that, to define what you are wanting to eventually do with your business, because that will determine the way that you go about structuring your business, advertising for your business, and it just kind of changes the whole structure of how you even get started and the path that you take to get to where you want to go. It can be so tailored to each individual need. And I also think that success is not necessarily like a means to an end, I guess you could say. It's not necessarily like an end goal to where you're doing all these things, and then boom, you're successful, and that's it. I think that there are small successes and small failures that can accumulate together and become a larger success at one point, and then you kind of have to continue on from there. Business seems like it's kind of a very up and down thing. It's not linear. It has its ups and downs, and just like I said, it has small successes and small failures that you can measure. And when it comes to going through those small successes, I mean, even if you set yourself a goal when you launch on how many sales you want to get, or maybe it's just you want to hit a dollar amount in a certain month and you work really hard to try to get there, and then you have that success for that month, or even for a day. Maybe you're like, I just want to sell 1 candle. If I sell 1 candle, I will be so excited and it will be a successful day. Or maybe it's not even a dollar amount. Maybe it's a task that you need to get done. And as soon as you get that task done, then you feel successful in that day with getting that task done. So I think that it can be measured in so many different ways. And I think that's something that I definitely went through in the beginning. And I can't lie, I still feel this way sometimes, that I just wish there was a crystal ball, a genie in a lamp, somebody to just pop up from the future, and I could say, hi, stranger, can you please tell me exactly what I need to do in order to get to this point that I want to get at, or in order to get this many sales or make this much or expand or whatever it is, be successful. Could you please just let me know, because that would help me out a lot and save me a lot of time in trial and error. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person that wishes that that could happen. And I feel like this is something that the more that I grow in my business, the more I'm just like, I have to keep reminding myself that it's the trial and errors, it's the small failures that make me learn so much more. And yes, it takes a little bit longer to grow your business. Yes, you can grow a little bit slower because you may not be doing everything perfectly of what you should be doing. And that's okay, because you're going to learn so much more along the way. But man, I mean, sometimes there are just times where, and I know that those small failures will teach me so much more than just having somebody tell me exactly what to do. There's so much that I've learned from the failures that have pushed me forward, and it's really all about that trial and error. I mean, as candle makers, we know all about trial and error, and it's frustrating, and we just want somebody to tell us, do this, do this, do this, okay, you're good to go. Because we don't want to waste time, we don't want to waste money, we don't want to waste our emotional I don't know, emotional something, emotional damage over all this trial and error. It feels like sometimes. But as I grow in my business and as I'm thinking, okay, what is the best use of my investment, of my, because I take all the profits from my business, I invest it back into my business, and I want to put that money in the right place. So I just, I'm kind of in that phase right now where I am trying my best to make the right decisions and make the right choices and spend the money on the right things. And what I've learned is that there's no right or wrong when you're trying it out, because nobody but you in that moment with your specific business has done and worked with what you have going on in that moment. So you're the only one that gets to experiment for yourself and for your business. And I think that that is both awesome and frustrating at the same time, but it's a part of it. And currently I just spent a little over $1,500 on a new setup for pop-ups for local events. And Chris and I are really going to try to hit this upcoming fall and winter season really hard and do as many pop-ups as we can. And I am personally thinking that this is going to be a good return on my investment. I'm really hoping so. I have a whole plan on how I'm going to arrange and set up this new setup and everything. And of course, I'll make a video in the future. I'm really excited about it. Of course, it is a lot of money to be spending on something like this. But again, when it comes to investing into your business, I mean, I don't have somebody to ask and be like, hey, is this going to increase sales? It's just me deciding, and me based on research and history and knowledge and a little bit of experience, and kind of tying all that in together to ask myself, is this going to attract more customers over? Is it going to look nicer? Is it going to look more professional? Is it going to make people want to come to the booth? Because I really have been feeling like my booth is so plain and I wouldn't want to walk up to it. So I was like, you know what? I can't do another season with the way that my booth setup is. And I am a very all or nothing person. So I would rather just go all in with a beautiful new setup than try to just change it up a little bit and see, and then change it up a little bit and see. I'm such an all or nothing. I'd rather go big. What do they say? Go big or go home? I don't know. So I definitely am hoping that this is a good investment and that it will result in more success at local events. But I cannot guarantee that, and I don't know, because there obviously could be other factors. This is just one variable that I'm trying to change, and who knows? It might not actually increase sales. It might increase sales. I have no idea until I try. And then, of course, I'll just have to analyze the situation and see if it actually does increase traffic to our booth. I'm hoping it does, to have kind of a beautiful, very full of product kind of setup and everything. So that is basically what I am focusing on right now. I have been applying to different markets for this fall season and then eventually the winter season as well. Really excited about that, trying to go all in with really getting our name out there, collecting as many emails as possible to add to my email list. That is definitely a huge goal for this season. And yeah, just trying my best to increase sales and become more successful at these market events. And now that I kind of have a dollar amount in mind of what I consider to be successful or not at these events, based on previous events, I kind of know where I want to be at, which is definitely north of $500. is definitely the range of where I want to be. Anything under $500, it's not that it's not successful, but it's kind of at the lower end. Anything north of $500, just for us and our experience, is definitely a better market. But I think I'm probably going to end it here. I think this is all I wanted to say in today's video. What I want to ask all of you listening is, how do you measure success as a small business owner? What would be successful for you? Is it learning something in your business? Is it the amount of sales? Is it the amount of candles sold? Is it the amount of retail shops that you can get into? There's so much that we personally can measure our own success with, and I would love to hear yours down below. So please leave a comment, let me know what success means to you in your business. Thank you so much for watching and listening to today's video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and leave it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Memory Box Candle Co. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. I said my other Instagram. It's both Memory Box Candle Co. or Erica Marie Morris.